So Jordan had to get, in the lane to send it to overtime. She elected to make the big pull up and was really clutch. And, just great players making great plays when it's not exactly diagrammed that way.
David?
Hey, Coach. You've had a couple games this year that have been close like this, just haven't been able to pull it off. You're able to today. As you mentioned, it's a game where you just really leaned on your leaders in NECA and JC. What was that kind of the difference there, or just what was different about this game? That you were able to hang on and pull out the win.
Yeah, I think there was a determination tonight, and we played to those guys. It was a tough night offensively to get our wings going. Lexi playing through tremendous amounts of pain, and she's giving us everything she's got, and our team admires her for that. Obviously without Carly tonight, so it wasn't a big wing night, so it was going to have to be our post game. It was going to have to be Jordan in a lot of actions, and they took us home.
Coach, speaking of the post game, you got a lot of production from not only NECA but Azure, who pitched in 15, and then the job you guys did on Boston there. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think we talked about that as much as anything in the locker room, giving Azure a big shout out. Probably, in my opinion, she was so tough throughout the game and played with a physicality that we haven't always seen all year. So I think, in a lot of ways, that was Azure's best game of the season. She battled and battled and battled. Season high in blocks, really battled. Boston made it as difficult as possible with her length, but it was her physicality that we haven't seen always that really came out. There was just a fight and determination that I loved out of Azure tonight. We recognized it in the locker room. Teammates certainly recognized what she was doing and trying to compete every possession with Aaliyah.
LG with TD Sports, from a coaching perspective, I know this is new territory for you to have so many starting lineups. So for you, what is it like for you to get this win tonight from a coaching?
Yeah, it's been a minute, right? So, just happy for them, happy for them that they feel that, that in the locker room after the game, what it feels like after a win. It was one of my assistant coaches in first year in the league. It was her first scout. Everything, felt, so good for everybody involved to watch an assistant coach be happy with their scout and the team just be back in the win column. They've all read recently. We probably didn't even realize when it happening, but they've all been asked. They've all seen the losing streak. So that monkey's off their back, and we can continue to talk about what's really important for us is the foundation and the build and the culture. And I thought we took a step in the right direction tonight with our determination, our effort, energy. That Indiana team is creating that same culture. They play so hard. They've lost a ton of close games, but they can put themselves in position every night with how hard they play. And that's the culture, we're trying to create also.
Coach, everyone's going to talk about that JC3, and rightfully so, but there was one more play left that the game still could have went the other way. And you guys forced them into a tough 3-point shot in the closing seconds. What did you tell the team prior to that defensive stance?
Yeah, again, Chris Koklanis is our defensive coordinator, so he was in charge of that huddle. But the message was, if Aaliyah goes towards the rim, they're probably going to try to enter it directly into the post. If she stays on the perimeter, it's probably going to be a Kelsey Mitchell flare screen, ball screen, handoff. And as they set up, you could see they were running one of their standard and typical sideline out of bounds plays that we had scouted. We had showed them on film before the game. So I thought we defended it as well as possible. We recognized the set. We saw what was coming. And, Jordan and Azure stayed in that play and made that difficult on Kelsey to get that last shot off.
Early in the fourth quarter, it seemed like you guys kind of got momentum shift when Leisha got those 2 deflections that led to turnovers. I'm just curious, how they've grown defensively in this new position and how much of a lift that was.
Well, I'm so happy to have her back. Like Leisha's got this fight about her. she's got a toughness about her. She's a physical defender. It doesn't matter if she's guarding point guards or wings. There's a physicality, there's a toughness about her, and she's very, very vocal. So it's a pleasure to have her back and playing with Leja again. And the same with Lexi, even though Lexi's far from 100%. It's just having starting wings back has been, a few more weapons, been a lot more fun. Now we just got to get Carly back.
Coach, congratulations on winning. Congratulations on breaking the losing streak. I'd like for you to assess your team's energy, effort, grit, determination, all those things we talked about pregame, specifically the trio of NECA, Jordan, and Azare, because I had them down for combining in this game for 65 points. And I'm not sure if you know, but in the first half, they actually had 39, and the Fever only had 38.
Yeah, it was our big three tonight. I mean, those three really carried us, but more importantly, they led by example with the energy and effort that we talked about that this game was going to come down to. We talked about paint and who was going to have a good night in the paint. Ironically, we won with a 3. It was going to be an energy game. They play with a tremendous tempo fight. And we needed to match it or exceed it. And that was the message. And those three obviously were productive stat wise, but they really led by example with how hard they played.
Hey, Coach. The Sparks have been playing a lot better in terms of 3-point shots. What can the fans expect to see in the second half of the season in terms of the 3-point percentage improvement? What's your strategy?
Yeah, well, again, take good ones and, have your great shooters shoot. Like when Carly's second in the league in 3-point shooting. She's just close to a 50, 40, 90 person right now. Jordan's having her career year at the Arc, but if you can get Lexi and Carly in space, they're tremendous shooters in this league. Jordan's making nearly 1 a game this season, and her best percentage by far. And our post players percentage is going to come around. NECA stepped up tonight. Azare is going to throw some threes in too. She's comfortable out there. De'Erica's going to get her percentage back up. So it's just going to become more and more part of us. But again, take good threes. That's the message.
Last question, Imani. Coach Imani, right with Winsor. Hi, congrats on the win. Congrats on making the streak, like everyone said. For you, Jordan Canada had 10 assists tonight. Could you talk about her playmaking and how it contributed to the win?
Yeah, I thought she was, aggressive hunting for her own, but at the same time, when she felt congestion, she felt that people were coming to her and showing her a lot of attention. She was a willing passer. She found people inside. We had a really good first half in transition offenses, or what we would call early offenses. And she dominates the ball in the hand, with her dribble off of transition. So she creates that tempo. I just thought she shared it really well tonight.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Congrats, Coach.
There's anyone there?
Jesse, you want to do the last question first?
Jesse, you want one?
I appreciate it, Coach. I just wanted to give you the opportunity to talk about Azare's defense. She was put in a shift against Aaliyah tonight.
Yeah, I thought she really physically battled. We knew she was going to have some length and could the length bother Boston, but her physicality was what was really impressive. There was a fight from the tip with her, trying to make it as difficult as possible. And then at times we needed to bring doubles, and we sent bodies towards Aaliyah just to make, she's a very unselfish player, to see if she would give up the ball around the rim at times.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
I know you guys have heard this, but I'm going to go through some bullets tonight. Azare had a season high in blocks with 3. NECA season high in points, 30, first 30-point game of the season, 12th 20+ game of the season for her. Jordan, first double of the season, 20 points and 10 assists, which is an assist season high.
Hey, Michael.
No way.
Ladies, you were able to end this losing streak. Just what's the feeling that you have right now? And for you, JC, You know, we have to talk about the shot.
Well, it's a great feeling to have when you win. We've been facing a lot of adversity the first half of the season. So it feels good to win and we like how this feels and we just want to keep this going. And the game winning shot, I was feeling confident all night in shooting and I just tried to make a play and went in. So that's it.
Ladies, again, we saw an electric game today. Can you talk a little bit about what the feeling was coming out of that last huddle before going into that shot? Like, what was the strategy from the team experience?
Well, the play was to get it to Mecca, and I saw that she was being denied by Boston, so I just tried to get it in and make a play. Like I said previously, I wanted to get to the rim, but I knew, like I said, I was confident in my shot all night, so I just took it, and thankfully it went in. So yeah.
David?
And Nneka, Coach was talking a little while ago about how this game in particular was going to be a game where you relied on the post a lot, your post play, and as your teammate just mentioned, that down the stretch the play was to get the ball into you. 24 shots. Was that is just something was it by design? That you were able to you kind of got into a rhythm offensively, or was that just kind of like just kind of feel how the game went, see how the defense was playing you a little bit?
I mean, I think, it's no secret that like I'm probably going to be involved in a lot of plays. But I usually try to let the game come to me and try to figure out, how I'm being guarded, how I'm being defended. And of course, you have to match their post energy. They have a really strong front court. So coming in and doing my best to not just be aggressive, but be kind of like be sure of when I'm open and going out there and taking as good of a shot as I can, and doing what I can also to facilitate in those moments. I don't always have to take the shot. I'm still kind of managing that part of me. You guys been watching me play for a while, so like efficiency is kind of like the name of my game. But I do know that sometimes like me taking the shot is the right play. So I'm trying to get better and more comfortable with that.
Fredo?
JC, Fredo Cervantes here with Infinity TV. What a big time shot, to get the team over the hump over the last few weeks. No victories here, but there's still a few weeks left in the season. What do you feel that it's going to take for this team all collectively to kind of put something together and make a late playoff push?
Yeah, I think we're building our chemistry. As you can see, everybody that was injured is back. We still have a couple people out, but we've had different lineups throughout the whole season and just trying to figure each other out. And we're doing a better job of communicating and talking amongst each other and seeing what works, what doesn't work, and just being aggressive and being patient. We keep our composure, which is something that is really good with this team. We try to we celebrate each other, we encourage each other, we fight, we compete day in and day out. And, we're going to continue to build on this win. But, it's all about sticking together and, we're in the locker room, on the court, off the court. And that's what it's all about. So we just want to continue this momentum that we have and continuing to build and see what we need to do to get better. But ultimately, just trying to build that chemistry and staying aggressive.
My question is for Nneka. In that fourth quarter, it looked like things got a little bit chippy with Boston there as the game continued to tighten up. How were you able to stay effective and stay efficient in those closing minutes with the game going back and forth and her guarding you more and more in the fourth?
I mean, you got to keep playing. It's going to be physical. So I'm not going to back down. Like especially when it comes to those tight games, like you can't be scared. And at the end of the day, like you just got to play the game. Like I'm always someone who wants to like respect the game and play the game. So I'm going to be as aggressive as I can and get the calls that look like calls.
Jordan Amani, right at Winsider. For you tonight, you had 10 assists on top 20 points. How are you able to balance scoring and facilitate?
Well, I mean, that's my job as a PG. I got to be able to take shots when I'm open and be aggressive, but also facilitate to my teammates. And I love passing. I love to get shots from my teammates and give the ball to Nneka and let her do work. Lexi, Carl, everybody, to be honest. Just trying to read the floor and take what the defense gives me. But also knowing that I am someone that likes to score, and just knowing when to pick and choose my moments and make good decisions.
Jordan, you mentioned earlier, you guys are a very composed team, and you know, after you hit that 3-pointer, you barely moved a muscle. Honestly, I feel like you're box score. Like, how do you, I don't know, keep that level-headed meter during the game, and like, do you ever just want to like let out a little bit?
Well, the game wasn't over. They had 3 seconds left, so I was focused on getting a stop. You know, I didn't want to celebrate just yet, but I was thankful that my teammates, you know, celebrated for me. But you know, as a PG, I'm always locked in. I want to make sure the game is over before I can start celebrating. So that's just the mentality that I have. But yeah, I mean, I was thankful that we got that last stop and I was able to celebrate after. But that's just something that I've always, you know, had in my game, is making sure that, you know, we get a stop first and then I can celebrate.
John?
Congrats on breaking the losing streak. Congrats on getting this win. Before the game, Coach Miller and I talked about the fact this was going to come down to energy, effort, grit, determination, things like that. How do you assess those words when you three kind of led the charge with Azure as well, combining for 65 points, and even in the first half, I had your trio down for 39 points versus the Fever's 38.
I mean, you know, I think that's kind of like where we lock in to what our strengths are, which is that kind of composure, but then bringing the focus and the energy with us knowing that we can kind of, you know, weather the storm a little bit. And I thought that we started the game off well today, you know, coming out with energy. And that's on us, you know, the first 5, we have to come out with as much energy as we can. And each game, when you have like intention and I guess like a focus, it's kind of, it channels that energy towards something. And so I think that we're understanding how we can do that each game with different opponents. And also with each opportunity to just have a good game and give a good game and play good basketball.
Last question on Zoom.
Hey, thanks for taking the question. Congrats on the win. It's really great to break the losing streak. I just wanted to ask about what you saw from some of the younger players who came in and played their role tonight, you know, especially Zaya getting that rebound right at the end where you could call the timeout, and just talk about how they played their role tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Zaya and Ray, they come in and they do what they need to do and help us. You know, it's tough when you know the minutes, you know, come and go, but I think they have the mentality of always staying consistent and being consistent and doing what we asked them to do. And it was huge for Zaya to come up with that rebound, despite, you know, going 1 for 9. She's just locked in, and same with Ray, always being aggressive and giving us, you know, the minutes that, you know, they deserve. And when they come in, they're attacking, they're being aggressive, they're taking shots. And even though some of the time they're not falling, it's just, you know, them being a part of this group. We just appreciate how hard they work and the effort that they give day in and day out, regardless of how many minutes they play. And tonight it showed Zaya coming up with that big rebound and Ray playing a couple minutes as well. But you know, they're always ready, and I tell them to stay ready because, you know, their moment could be called at any moment. So yeah, I'm just proud of those two for always coming in and giving consistent effort regardless of the situation.
And hey, what are y'all gonna do tomorrow to celebrate the win?
Lay down.
I don't blame you.
Thank you.
Good win, ladies.
Thank you.
You guys have, you guys have, you make